The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. We'll start out the day like we usually do with the FTSE and the German DAX. As you can see, they're following nicely the patterns that were predicted yesterday by our good friend A. Smith over across the pond. And so whether these will continue in the same direction down, we'll have to wait and see. But there's one market that is really ripe. If you like to pick cherries, and this is the cherry season over in California, you have to take a look at one of the big daddy rabbits, and that happens to be none other than the NASDAQ. That is the big one. Let's get this up here so you can take a look at it. Here's the NASDAQ on a, hold us, get this up here so we can see it. This is not for the faint of heart, folks, but we'll bring it up here to show you. This is a big ABCD pattern from way back on May the 27th up to the 10th of June, down to the 14th of June, and that number up there was 103.47. We got to 102.99, and right now we've had a break from that level, but this is what I was looking at for last night. And then one of the things that when I watch this, I try to follow through on a shorter time frame to see if the market is going to do what we think it's going to do. And so the next thing you want to do would be to go to a smaller time frame and just take a look at a 15-minute chart, and we'll get this up here so we can take a quick look at it. This is, we don't want to do that one. Hold on just a second. Get it right up here. And there we go. Yes, I am a cherries. I love the Rainier cherries. Those are the best. Gosh darn, we just got some the other day at Sprouts for $5.99. And gosh, I could eat those. I'll tell you. Well, I don't need to tell you that story. Anyway, now you'll notice here, this is the NASDAQ after that ABCD pattern was hit. You can see how close it came to the exact number. And then if you just waited, you could see in a 15-minute chart, you get a perfect Gartley signal up there at 61% retracement at 102.42, and of course we broke down to that 101.40 or something, whatever it was, a little lower this morning. In fact, it went right down to a 50% retracement of that low on the on 22nd of June. So we're going to find out whether it's going to mean anything or not. And the reason why is because if we take it just one step farther, and if we take it one step farther, you're going to see where we are. And where are we? We are right here. Okay, we'll get this up. Now, this happens to be a little up-to-date one. You'll see here's where we are. Now, I'm just going to bring it to your attention here because this might repeat itself in a different market. You'll notice the bottoms that we had here back on the 21st, we took out the bottoms of the 18th, and we made the big ABCD up there. You can see that at the 103. Look what's happened since the middle of the night, folks. We've had a beautiful, you see that dark trending line there? That's a 135 pattern. It has a lot of symmetry, and everything is lined up the way you like to see it. And if you remember from the show on Monday and the show on Tuesday, we were talking about this pattern in the silver, and you'll notice here in the silver that it is also, we've broken from 18.20 all the way down to 17.50. We broke 70 cents in silver, the equivalent of $3,500. Now, if you want to hear the sad part, I don't trade silver very often, but I did sell the silver at 18.16, and I put my stop at break even after it went down to 17.72. I figured it was not going to rally back 30 cents. Well, guess what? It did rally back 30 cents. and I got break even on that little puppy. So I kissed the preacher, and I said, well, I'll look at the next one. But we did have one very similar to that we've been waiting for several days, and that happened overnight. I'll bring it up so you'll be able to take a look at it, because I sent several videos on this over the past few days, and that happens to be the let's get this gold market up here so you can see it. There's a huge this is a 4-hour chart that covers several months. We've taken out this is a massive triple top, folks, going back from April, May, and here we are into late June. We've taken out those highs. You can see the big ABCD pattern that ended at 1791. You have to risk about $10 when you're trading gold at this level. It's already broken from 1796 all the way down to 1772 or 74. It's already broken $22 just in a little bit. That could mean something. So if you did sell it like we were expecting, put your stop at the break even again at around 1792, and then see if it's going to work more. Because that has a really good chance, given the fact that what's happened to the silver market being so negative. That's market feedback, folks. That's one of the things when you're a technical trader. You don't have the oscillators and things, but you have market feedback. And if you've got markets that are really bullish and are not going up, that's a bad sign. And if they're bearish and are not going down, that's a bullish sign. Those are market feedback things that you really need to do. It's pretty close to symmetry in that, Bill, but not exactly. Would like to see it, but it's close enough. But you've got the price levels. You can see that should have been a big weekly breakout, and it did not do that. It went $3 higher in the market. Give me a break. Not only that, but it's been in a market though the open interest has not been increasing, especially silver. Silver just technically doesn't look very good. It really is just not very good. And if we look at the gold miner index, let's just bring this up here a little bit, and sometimes, you get somebody that's excited about something, you shouldn't be talking about it. Market feedback in wheat. We want it to go higher. Just a minute, Marshall. This is the gold miners index. As you can see, this was yesterday, and today we're probably going to be lower because of the fact that the market is a little lower and the gold's a little lower. This is a pretty close to a head and shoulders pattern. The right shoulder is a little higher than the left shoulder, but, it's close enough, I guess. I just brought this to your attention. Someone asked me to look at it, and it's also lagging badly. So that's another reason why I think this could be a pretty severe top in the gold market. Now, it won't be a severe top until we break more than $40. So if we break more than $40, that'll tell us that, this is going to be something pretty significant. And each of those breaks, each of those breaks that we had in there was well over several $100. So that's a big move that could be happening here. And this is the third time, and the third time is the charm. And if it doesn't go through, and hey, this thing could turn in a dime in just a minute and just be going crazy to the upside. So you've got to be very, very careful in all these markets. That's for sure. So that's the main thing. So watch the NASDAQ today. It's got that same 135 pattern that we had in the silver. Will it work? I don't know. But the beautiful part of it is, boys and girls, nobody else does either. So it's all about how much money you have to risk to see if you're right. It's not how much money you make. It's how much money you don't lose. As Mr. Buffett says, the two rules is don't lose any money is rule number one. And rule number two, don't break rule number one. And when you have to break rule number one, keep it as small as possible. The wheat looks okay. We're up about 5 cents in the wheat. It might go higher, it might go lower. Still have our stops in there in the wheat. So the risk is extremely small now. That's the ideal situation. You get to be a farmer without having to do anything. We'll be right back, folks.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, Taz understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the Taz Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the Taz Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Okay, folks, we've had a question about the crude oil. I posted the pattern that we're looking at here from June 23rd. Yesterday we made a high. It looks like possibly that was a 1.27 expansion of the range of the 22nd, right up at 41.60. We've dropped a little more than $2 a barrel, $2.20 a barrel. We had a little rally last night. You can see that rally up to 40.50. That was a 382 rally with an ABCD format in between. That's usually a good sign that maybe something, is amiss, and this is what's happened. Now, if we get above 40.50, this pattern will certainly be wrong, but that's what we're looking right now. That's, one of the reasons that I look at these patterns on a daily and then move down to the 15-minute. The 15-minute gives me the spot where I don't have to risk as much as I would like to, and I keep a loss as small as I possibly can. Now, this is a very interesting time of my life here. Back in 1985, I was making a big move. I was going to make a big move to the Big D, and I don't mean Dallas. And also my friend up in Avila Beach, John Raffoni, was also going to move to Dallas, and son of a gun. So he says, why don't you come up and, live with me up here? He said, you can live for free. And he said, as a matter of fact, he said, are your licenses still working that you had at Drexel Burnham? Because I had 5 licenses while I was there those 6 years, and I kept those licenses up to date. It was like $25 a year, and he said I could use those licenses because he had bought the Bateman Eichler offices that used to be Walston and Company from many years ago, and he said he had the 4 offices there at Lompoc, Santa Maria, San Luis Obispo, and Paso Robles, and he said I can use those licenses, and say, okay, I could do that. As a matter of fact, when I first met Ross Perot was in 1965 in San Luis Obispo, and he was there. John was running his office for Walston and Company, and I was in the Louvre, and I looked over and I said, "Oh my goodness!" I said, "You're from Texas?" And he said, "Yes." And so I got to say hello to him and stuff. I met him one other time, and that's how that moved on. But I'll go into these other stories a little later about how I got out of the brokerage business and stuff. So I hung my shingle there with John from 1985 through. I kept the shingle going for even after I started writing Astro-Cycles. I think I ended it in 1988 because they got all the licenses they needed there, and then they were bought out by somebody else. But John was he was a real broker's broker, and he was very, very successful. He's 4 years older than I am, but we became very, very good friends through his father, who I met, way back in 1964. Anyway, the main thing that you want to keep in mind here, folks, is that what's happening in these markets, no one's ever seen before. So this is we're really in uncharted territory. Just like they were in 1920. I'm not saying this is 1929. I don't know if it is. I don't even care, because I'm a shorter term trader than that. I'm like a little merchant. Someday I've got eggs for sale. Sometimes I'm trying to buy pork. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. We bought some wheat the other day that worked okay. That's what you're trying to do. Is to get in where you don't have to risk an arm and a leg. That's the key to these whole markets. So if you can do that, you're far, far better off. That's absolutely 100% for sure. But getting back to John, when we moved to Avila Beach, which was right on the ocean overlooking, it's a little bay between San Luis Obispo and Shell Beach, and it's just one of the most beautiful places. It's just hardly anybody knew about it. Now it's a lot of people know about it, but it was a great place, and they did all their salmon fishing out of there and all that stuff. So one of John's really good buddies was none other than Jack LaLanne. Those of you that lived in California, he was the original health guru with exercise shops and exercise equipment and all that. And John and Jack and his wife, Lala, Elaine, they lived in Morro Bay. That's where Twentyman lives right now. Yes, no, I've been to Hearst Castle. I've been to Hearst Castle for several weddings and stuff, but I do love Hearst Castle. Been up there many, many times over the years. Anyway, let's move on. You was breaking my train of thought. Well, anyway, Jack LaLanne loved salmon fishing, so he would come over from Morro Bay and go fishing with John and some of his other buddies. And there was no way I was going out on a boat to go fishing. I didn't like it then, and I hate it now. But he was there one Sunday. This was in the 4th of July of 1986, and my daughter Jill, who was she was going to go to college. She didn't know whether she wanted to go to UCLA or to go to Berkeley, where her sister was. And she said, "I think I'm just going to stay and go to UCLA." But we went up to John's place. We're having a big party, just like they always did. And the 4th of July, there must have been 100 people there. And we were cooking and all this stuff, and I looked over on the side, and there was Jack LaLanne sitting in the veranda there with my daughter Jill, chatting with her. And they were there for a long time. I kept, watching them, and finally, it must have been about 3 hours. We got ready to have dinner, and she came over to me. She says, "Dad," she says, "that guy is so interesting." He says he was telling me about all these positive thinking books, and she said, "Oh, Dad," she said, "it was so amazing, some of these books." And she said, "Dad, those are the same books you have." And I said, "Yes, I know, dear." I said, "Why don't you read some of them?" She said, "Well," she said, "you told us about them so many times, I didn't think it was that important, but when somebody besides you said something, I had to pay attention to it, and he's on TV all the time, so I figure he must know what he's doing." So that changed her life, and she always remembered it. And I got to know Jack and his wife quite a while. They lived really wonderful lives. They were they lived to be quite old, and Jack was still swimming in Morro Bay. He would pull a rowboat on his birthday. He would swim a mile across the ocean there, in Morro Bay on his birthday. It was just he's just a great guy. He's a really very philanthropic and really fun. Well, I wasted enough time this segment. Maybe I'll get some technical stuff in here. Let's move on to the markets here, folks, because we are at a critical time in that NASDAQ because of that big pattern up there that goes over several months. It's goes right to the number, folks. You're talking 0.000. I mean, within 10,000ths of a point of the exact high. So that's it. Apple, look at Apple. It gapped up again. What's it trading at? 369, 370, probably something today. But Apple's in a case all by itself, folks. It really is. You can't really trade Apple that way. All I'm looking at is a NASDAQ, and that's 20% is Apple and Microsoft. So I'm looking at a pattern, folks. I don't know diddly squat about those stocks. I never profess to, and I don't. I'm just looking at shorter-term patterns on these things, and that's it. Yes, Jack lived to be, I knew it was the mid-90s, but and he was still sharp as a tack. He was sharp as a tack. We were having dinner at Jocko's one night, a bunch of traders and I, and he and his wife and a couple of other couples were having dinner there, and I saw him there, and I had the waitress bring the check for those 6 people over to me so I could pay the check. And I did, and he saw me, and he came over and said hello, and some of these guys were from Southern California, and they remembered who he was, and he was, it was just a great guy, just a super nice guy. 877-927-6648.
Larry Pesavento watches the markets 24/7, and now is a great time to try out his daily trading service, Fibonacci 24/7. Larry publishes videos and charts for subscribers throughout the week when warranted, and every weekend he puts out a thorough report covering worldwide markets, futures, commodities, and currencies with Fibonacci retracement levels, possible trading setups and zones, and stops and targets for all recommendations included. Larry applies the principles he's developed over decades of trading while analyzing a variety of markets for subscribers. To see for yourself the types of videos, charts, and analysis that Larry provides for his subscribers, sign up for Fibonacci 24/7 today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. You'll also gain instant access to Larry's archived subscriber webinar from earlier this year. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today. If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today. TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, Shane just Skyped me and told me that Jumping Jack was the actual nickname that they gave to Jack LaLanne. That's where the phrase came from. I thought it was Whoopi Goldberg, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, what a funny story. He used to have these juicers that he would sell for juicing, and he would bring them over to the house because we had a lot of juicing there at the beach, especially with tomato juice and tequila and some other stuff. But we went through a bunch of those over the years, but boy, a lot of memories. Always nice. Just a super nice. It was so philanthropic that, if somebody had any trouble in that area, like a house burned down and the people didn't have anything, he was right there to chip in. And he had made a lot of money over the years in all of his promotions and stuff that he had done. And more than that, the friends that he made is what was really because there was nobody that he didn't know that didn't like him. I mean, he was just a super guy. So Jack LaLanne, our hats off to you, and also his lovely wife, Elaine, known as Lala. Okay, let's move on here to these markets here, folks. I want to tell a little story here, just to give you my 2 cents worth for what it's worth from the old cowboy. I want you to look at this pattern here that I posted here just a little while ago. This is the same pattern that we were looking at in the silver over the last few days. This is the 135 pattern. We've got the two lower highs. They're coming in at ratios that are extremely important. And if this gets above this 10,220 level, it would certainly be probably wrong. But if it's not, then it's very, very important. The story I want to tell you goes back to the ancient Japanese samurai trader Miyamushu Mushushashi. He was one of the greatest swordsmen of all time. He was trying to prove how great he was, to the emperor. And the emperor brought on a housefly, and the housefly was flying through, and he said, "Kill this housefly with your sword." And so the fly came flying by Mushushashi, and he took his sword and wished it through the air, and the fly kept going around and going around and going around. And the emperor said, "What's wrong?" And the fly is still flying. And he said, "Wait till he shakes his head." And that's the story of this pattern, because if it works, don't shake your head and be long to NASDAQ, because this thing is going to really, really go a lot lower if it works. Now, maybe it works, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but this is what you're here to see, is whether these patterns work or not. We'll have to do one thing at a time. Now, I missed one of the charts from yesterday from our good friend Sherwin McClellan. Hold on, I'm going to get this up here so we can take a look at it. This is his prediction of what he thinks is happening here. This is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. He's looking at a super bear market in the woods, is what he's saying right here. You can see here, this is what he's looking at, that the high was around 2018. You can see where we are here in 2019 and 2020. That's what he was looking at for a super bear market. Now that's March 18th. You see, we've already passed that. So this thing is most probably would have been inverted. Okay, so this is what he was looking for a bottom in here, and it actually it happened pretty good. So for those 2 years, his cycle worked almost perfectly. So we've seen that bottom now. So this is why it's important to pay attention to some of these cycles. Now, I look at the cycles because I count the days. That's why I use candlestick charts, because I can count the days very, very quickly. And that's primarily what I'm looking at. By the way, folks, Al tells me that one of the telephone lines coming in has just opened up. So if you have any questions, it's 877-927-6648, and we'll try to answer your questions if we can. And if we can't, we will probably defer it to somebody a whole lot smarter than us. Now, let's get back to the gold market, because another chart that was sent to us by one of our listeners, very, very interesting here. And if you're bullish here, you have to pay attention here, because this was posted. I don't know how to, one of these, I don't even know what it's, Twitter or whatever it is, but it's one of those social networking sites. But it's basically showing a case Are you ready for this, boys and girls? Sit down. $9,000 an ounce in gold. And this is going back to way back when, this was before we were trading gold, because gold didn't come out until 72. We're looking at this. You can see these patterns. He's drawing this really, technically, it looks fabulous. It really does. I mean, you can see there's your first, what doesn't even show the, this doesn't even go back to 19, this is 1996. Oh, this is this might actually happen if we can get above if we get above those old highs at 1931. You could actually make a case that this thing could go to 9,000 because it's got some really nice symmetry in here. But shut the front door. $9,000 in gold per ounce. Oh, I could retire on that one. Well, I've tried that before. That didn't work. I don't like retirement. Retirement's no good. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Didn't quite describe that as well as I wanted to, but $9,000 is beyond my pay grade in the gold market, so I don't want to spend too much time on that right now. What I'm focusing on, it's the hold on, we've got a question coming in. Thank you, Mr. Z. We got a question coming in here about Shopify. Let us get this up here and take a look at it. Here's actually, one of my students happens to be working for this company. You'll notice here that back in March, we made a big ABC double bottom there, and we went from 300 to 900. It tripled in price, folks. I don't even know what Shopify does or what it is, but that's one of the things that is pretty good. I'll tell you, I never, Bob is mentioning that retirement is a death sentence. Boy, you're absolutely right. 25 years ago, I told my daughter I was going to retire, and she said, "And do what?" And she's absolutely right. I mean, I enjoy. Some days it's easier than others, but I've been pretty lucky. I do what I like to do, and the wonderful people that I've met over the years is worth every penny of it. So I have no complaints at all. Boy, I really don't. When the old man with the sickle comes, I'll be ready, and hopefully it'll be on the right side of the fence, but we'll never know until that comes. All right, now remember, folks, tomorrow we're going to have someone extremely interesting, as always, which will be Stan Harley of the Harley Stock Market Letter. He'll be giving us a talk. And then next week, I'm hoping to have Paula Douglas, Mark's wife, who's carried the torch for him. We will be happy to have her on as a guest next week also, because she's doing some great stuff, continuing on with Mark's work. Someone has a question about the Twitter. Let's just get this up here. The last time I saw Twitter, it was around 27. We'll get this up here for a second, and we'll be able to see it. And it's backed off 37. Well, it didn't go very far, so it went right up to where it should have. So here's the chart for Twitter. It's heading down, it looks like. So we'll be able to see that. We've got a caller from Oakland, Michigan. John, are you there?
Yes, I am, Larry, and great to talk to you again. I haven't spoken to you in a long time.
Well, it's good talking to you,
Shopify.
My friend.
Shopify is one of those payment-type plans, like I think a PayPal or something like that. And I think it really took off when Facebook allowed people to, when people buy stuff on Facebook, I think it goes through Shopify.
Hey, stay with us, John. We have to pay a few bills. Please stay with us.
Tech stocks that has no inventory other than the machines they put out. Places where, at stores that want to use a phone or a card to pay their bill, that kind of stuff, along with...
The gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The gold report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The Bull Bear Trading Hour with Tom and Tommy O'Brien. Next.
Okay, we're back, folks. I think we still have John on the line from Michigan. Are you there?
Yeah, you do, Larry. Hey, did you catch what I had to say about Shopify?
Yes, we did. And we certainly appreciate it. And you also had a comment about silver. You were asking about silver.
One last thing about Shopify. They sell these little payment machines to retailers. And they also will lend them money when their cash flow is down. So that's another kicker. That's why they make a bunch of money, Shopify. So, but on the silver, today I took a flyer and put in an open order to buy the silver at 1803 with the stop at 1790. And man, sure enough, we hit a high, and I'm using the September silver. I moved over from the July to the September. Okay. And we came down from like 1842 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I mean, after I put my order in, I don't think it was 5 minutes where someone said his order is in, and it shot all the way down to 1760. And we're back at like 1795 now. You were talking earlier in the show about the open interest and how weak silver looked. Can you go over that for me again, please?
Yes, what's happened here in the silver market over the last 6 or 7 weeks is the open interest has been down a little bit, but the open interest in the gold has been down even more. Open interest basically, John, means that for every buyer there has to be a seller. So each time a contract goes in, there's got to be a buyer and a seller to match up. And so if you don't get that matching up, it means that there's either less buyers or sellers. Now, I'm glad you brought this up because there's a perfect example of what's been happening in the stock market in the S&P and also in the NASDAQ. The open interest has been dropping. A week ago, we had an open interest of 3.3 million contracts in the S&P, and we've been up almost every day here for the past, the past week. NASDAQ up 8 days in a row, S&P 6 out of 7. And the open interest is now 2,600,000. So we've lost about 500,000 contracts during that time when the market's going up. When markets go up and open interest drops, it is short covering. In other words, the shorts are leaving the market. That's what's happening, and now that sets up a bearish scenario. So that's what I'm seeing in gold, silver, and I'm also seeing it in the stock indices.
I see. So could see the beginning here in silver of a big swoosh to the downside then.
It certainly is possible. You can see how volatile it is. It's swinging 20 and 30 cents at a time, and that's one of the characteristics that silver does have, that once the players get in there and the market starts to move, they do come into play. So, it's best to try to use those fib numbers, because silver follows the fib numbers, extremely well. And so just be very careful. As a matter of fact, you can measure it today from a high of, you went from 1842 down to 60, so you dropped 80 cents. So you already rallied almost 50 cents of that back, so it's almost made a 61% retracement already. You see, so it's really jumping around
with that 61% retrace.
Yeah. So that's why you watch them, is because they don't work all the time, but when they do, it's certainly worth looking at them.
Well, Larry, as a technician, so when we've made that 61% retrace on the fib, what is that telling you? If this was your position, how would you look at that?
Well, if I wanted to sell silver, I would sell it at the 61% retracement and put a buy stop above the 78% retracement, which would be about 15 cents. So you have to risk about $750 to trade it. But when it's jumping around like that, it's quite crazy. And remember, we're in the summer doldrums now, so we're going to have less volume on some of these things, because many of the traders, they go to their island mansions or to Montauk or wherever they go to Lake Geneva
Larry, one last thing on the metals. With Powell saying that they're not going to raise interest rates for the foreseeable future, I think somehow I saw or heard 2 years on that. Well, that's got to be hard on the dollar, so the dollar goes down. If the dollar goes down, why are the metals have run, opposite the dollar, it's been good, but why would people be short covering the metals at this point if the dollar continues to go down? It continues to go down against the euro, its major competitor. Do you have any idea on that, a clue on that?
Yes, this is probably one of the easiest questions I'm going to get, and I know the answer to that. And the answer to that, John, is it's so far over my pay grade, I don't even think about it. Because the more I start thinking about it, it tells me that less I know about it, and then I already know that I know less about it. But I do know if the prices are going up, there's more buyers. Prices are going up, there's more sellers, and that's what I'm looking at. So that's all I can tell you, my friend. I don't really try to think that way. I on my desk here, I've got technical analysis of the futures markets and intermarket analysis with John Murphy, and believe me, I don't even, it doesn't make any sense to me to try to look at it that way, because I try to keep it as simple as it possibly can. And I know I miss a lot of stuff, but it's what I'm comfortable with, and I that's the one thing I know. Like in Curly and City Slickers, when he held his one finger up, remember to do one thing and try to do that one thing right, and that is in fact what I try to do. I hope that helps, but that's my answer.
It does, Larry. I really appreciate the fact that you don't do the dance that a lot of these folks do. When you just like you said, you keep it simple. You don't throw any BS out there. You don't.
John,
I really appreciate your show, and I appreciate your take on things, Larry. So thank you very much for giving me all this time this morning.
I do throw BS out there all the time. You just don't recognize it. Hey, listen, thanks for joining us today, and be safe out there. I know it's pretty crazy out in Michigan, just like it is in Arizona. So be safe, my friend.
We've got the mob boss for a governor out here who's got.
Oh yeah, I've heard about it on the news.
We're not locked down. We're locked down again. It's awful. It's terrible.
Okay, my friend. Listen, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Okay, take care, Larry. Bye-bye.
Okay, folks. Yes, that's. Fact is, if you remember, they were talking about a little bit of this in the Art of War. It says, the man who knows his enemy is strong. The man who knows himself is omnipotent, and that's probably true in trading too. Because you remember, if you want to be impotent, you have to think impotent. Take a look here, folks, at the NASDAQ there's the 135 pattern. There's that magic number up there at 102.20. And I said if it got above 102.30, the fly will win. So that's all you got to remember. So keep in mind that when these patterns fail, they go a lot higher. If we get above 10,230, we're probably going to go up and make a new high. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, let's move on here. Oh, my goodness, we got the end of the show almost. We got these calls coming in so fast, you'll have to wait till tomorrow. We have Stan Harley. He's going to be our guest tomorrow. Always a good show. And he's got some great statistics to follow it, too. And Friday, I'm hoping to have Dr. David Paul from VectorVest on. I've had several requests to have him back on because he's done a great job, and we want to get him back on the show, too. So we've got a break coming up, 877-927-6648.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as,
whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us, and Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and to help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that will take you step-by-step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
Bam! If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
With markets trading with extreme volatility and peaks and troughs everywhere, regardless of what you're looking at in the markets, this is a great time to see the type of analysis Basil Chapman delivers for his subscribers every market day with the Opening Call newsletter. Basil has been analyzing markets, providing his take for subscribers to his trading services since 1984. Every morning, Basil publishes an update for his subscribers, along with weekend and evening updates when warranted. The Opening Call provides traders a daily market overview with regard to the direction of the key indices, selective stocks and commodities, along with specific recommendations including stops and targets. You also gain instant access to Basil's subscriber webinar archive from earlier this year, a dark cloud cover, and essential market analysis. Ride the Chapman wave today by signing up for the Opening Call newsletter on the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a look at this Australian dollar. We had a request, and you can see here by the little green triangles that are up there, that's another 135 pattern that's forming in the Australian dollar. It's had a pretty good run, so it's most probably getting ready for some type of a correction in here. But remember, that's on a shorter term time frame, that's over the last 6 or 7 days. Longer term, this has had one heck of a bullish run, and part of that is because of the Chinese are the big buyers of all of the stuff from Australia, the iron ore and the lamb chops and all the other stuff that they have over there. Australian beef is really the primary beef that they use in importing in China. They don't use U.S. beef too much, maybe ground beef, but the prime cuts, it's usually Australian. Okay, one of the questions about the crude oil, folks. We're trading around 39.60. That's down 2 handles from where we were yesterday. That's the key to watch. Remember, we mentioned the 38% retracement on this. If we get above 40.20, then that tells us that this is probably going to have a little bit more of a rally. But right now, 40.20 is really strong resistance in the crude oil, and I think that's something that if you're trading crude oil, if we don't get above 40.20 today and close below 39, that means we are getting ready for a pretty substantial, at least a $5 barrel break. And remember, we've been going pretty much nonstop since we hit $6 a barrel in that June contract when we went minus, of course, in the May contract. So that's what it looks like. We went from $6 all the way up to $41.60, and now I think we're getting ready for some type of a correction. But the key level there to watch is at 40.20 in that crude oil, because if it does get above that, that tells us that you have to risk a little more to see if that short position is going to work. We've got the gold trading at $17.82. We had a high of $17.96 overnight, so we're down $17. We've been as low as $17.72. That was down $24 from the bottom side here. So we'll watch it. Silver's had a big break, a little bit of a rally back, and that's what's really happening there. But remember, tomorrow we have Stan Harley on as our guest, and live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless. And one other thing, folks, is try to do something for some people that are a whole lot worse off than you, because this virus thing has put some people in some extreme difficulty, and many people need a lot more than they really think that they need. So try to help them out. We'll see you all tomorrow.